Alrighty folks, with the return of Verdansk potentially only a month away, I'm starting to get excited but nervous about what could potentially be the last roll of the dice for Warzone to return itself to its former glory. To bring back millions of players that we have lost throughout the past 3 years, because make no mistake, these players will give Warzone a chance upon seeing we are returning to our virtual homeland, but will they stick around? Well, in this video, I'm going to share with you what I think has went wrong with Warzone, what I wish to change to make sure Warzone gets back to its best. Firstly though, it's important to recognise some deep fundamentals of the game just aren't going to change. I'm talking the Omni movement system. I highly doubt we're going to see any changes to that, considering we're still going to be in the Black Ops 6 era of Warzone. Same goes for stuff like wildcards, equipment, all that is going to be the same, so as much as I'd love to see stuff like the OG bunny hops returning, it's probably not going to happen. I think the competitive Warzone players and the Giga Sweats have to take their fair share of the blame for how Warzone has fallen off over the past few years. It's just become way too sweaty and a lot less fun. Take these clips for example, blowing up enemies with a launcher, fun stuff like that just doesn't happen anymore because they'll say it's not skillful or balanced. It's also not ranked that we're playing, so you will see throughout my Verdansk wish list here that a lot of my wishes are for the more fun side of the game and a lot less based on competitive integrity. The first huge change I would make is I would remove these redeploy drones, or at the very least put one in each buy station for, let's say, $6,000. The reason for this is that because the drones are everywhere, it makes choosing a landing spot just absolutely brainless. There's no consequence of choosing a bad landing spot because, well, in 30 seconds you can be virtually teleported to the other side of the map. Furthermore, how annoying is it when you've made a smart rotation to get into the end zone early, you've picked a good spot, a good position, and yet a team of sweats can just land on you out of nowhere and eliminate you before you've even had a chance to react? I don't think that's fun for anyone. It's obviously not fun for the team who gets landed on, but for the team using the drone, there's no thought process there. It's just pop the drone and land on the best position you see. Great, well done. I think people have actually forgotten why these redeploy drones were even put in the game in the first place. They were brought in the Caldera era of Warzone because Caldera was so poorly designed that if you did not land in the middle of the map at peak, then it was genuinely a game ender if the zone pulled away from you, because good luck traversing the jungle with a vehicle or pushing up a hill with a team shooting down on you. Also in Al Mazrah, the movement in the vehicles were so clunky that we still needed the revamped redeploy drones. In Verdansk though, we don't need them. We didn't need them for a variety of reasons. Firstly, Verdansk is an urban map with plenty of tall buildings to parachute and rotate off of. If you land downtown, you've got Nakatomi to jump from, top of hospital, this building next to hospital, the twin apartment buildings, airport, ATC, this bridge up at the quarry, the prison. In fact, just even climb up one of the many radio towers, which is risky, yes, but it should be risky. Yeah, but then the sweats will go, but what if there's a team camping up there? Well, that's just too fucking bad, mate. And do you know what you should do? Use one of the OG vehicles to rotate. That's right, if it's up to me, I'm bringing back the SUV, the Bertha, or at least making the current vehicles maneuver as well as those OG vehicles did, and making them an important part of the gameplay loop. Also, when was the last time you as the last player had to activate a most wanted contract and drive, or desperately fly around the map trying to run the clock down to get your teammates back in the game? That would be an absolute thrill, trying to get that most wanted contract complete as enemies chase you down. And I guess we don't need that anymore because of all the shitty resurgence mechanics in the game, but more on that later. No, more on that now actually. If it's up to me, I'm getting rid of resurgence flares and just heavily reducing the amount of gulag tokens out there. Listen, don't get me wrong, I don't want to go back to the Big Bertha meta, especially in solos where you had like 5 trucks battling it out for first place in the final zone, but I feel like I've also got the perfect solution to balance it, and that is making launchers and equipment effective against vehicles again. And that is the counterplay to keep vehicles in check, because we all remember the feeling you're driving around in the SUVs a 4-stack and you've just got that little thought in the back of your head that you could be ambushed with a C4 or a rocket at any point and be completely wiped out the game. Or maybe you're the lone wolf with a vehicle screaming towards you, but you've got a C4 to throw at them to turn the tables at the last second. That was just an incredible feeling, getting a squad wipe like that, which we just don't get anymore. Don't forget as well, for the most part you wouldn't dare drive about without a trophy system on your vehicle. We weren't stupid, we knew the risk we were taking. Changing gears a bit now, and another thing I would bring back on day one is heavy snipers being able to one-shot at any range. I feel like Warzone has lost a lot of its like shareable moments with friends. like crazy snipes you've pulled off, or a full squad wipe with a rocket, as I was saying. I think one-shot snipers were another unfortunate victim of the competitive Warzone players getting too close to the developers' ears, because they don't seem to appreciate being able to down someone at any range skillfully with a skillful shot. Nah, they'd rather see boring SMG number 354 have a time to kill of 346 milliseconds at 15.9 meters. Otherwise, all competitive integrity will be lost. I mean, who's going to tell these players? No one gives a fuck. You're talking about 0.01% of the player base moaning about this, and we have ranked now. You can have all your boring gameplay elements in ranked and go enjoy yourself, genuinely. I want to be able to go for that 1 in a million shot on the helicopter pilot 400 meters away. How frustrating is it these days lining up a great snipe just to pitifully break someone's plates? And once again, I'm not a maniac. I'm not talking about bringing back the OG Car 98 with its insane movement speed downing players at 500 meters away with one shot. Nah, I'm just talking about the heavy, clunky snipers being able to one shot. And listen, I know some people's counter arguments about the snipers will be that making them that powerful encourages camping, but do you not think that camping is just part of Warzone? Like, yeah, we all hated that team camping up in ATC, but how good of a feeling was it when you finally got them out of there? And also, I will be shocked if they don't add an external zipline to ATC as well as a few other notorious camping spots. Like, it is a battle royale at the end of the day. The goal is to survive, to be the last player, the last team standing, and if camping is the effective strategy to win the game, say they've even earned the right to camp by doing a bunch of recon contracts to know where the end zone's going to be, I think that's fair game. Speaking of recon contracts, I want to see the permanent recon contract on the back of the train again. If anything, one of the big problems of current Warzone is we're all kind of forced to play the same way, whereas back then your squad could decide pre-game, okay, let's do a bunch of recons and camp to the end zone, which could always have a crazy good payoff if the zone happens to be in a weird spot like at the very edge of the map. And on that note, quickly, do you not feel like these days the end zones in Warzone are all the same? Very rarely does an end game pop up in Warzone these days and I think, oh, I haven't had to deal with this in quite a while. Anyways, all I was saying was that camping back then was actually a fun strategy if your team went all in on the gimmick. I have so many fun memories just shooting the shit with my teammates as we all sit in different corners of a building waiting for the zone to close in. And if the sweats were to actually engage their brain and not just go slide cancelling straight into the camper's den, then 9 times out of 10 they will actually beat the campers. But think about it, it's that 1 time out of 10 which will keep those casual players playing, and that is crucial for the success of Warzone. And I want you to stick around on this channel by hitting the subscribe button, because we're pushing for 700,000 subscribers this year, so stick around for plenty of Verdansk videos, hopefully next month. Anyways, back to talking about the casual player base. There is one major problem that the devs have to solve upon the release of Verdansk, and that's the fact that all these players will return to the game for the first time in years and notice they don't have any weapons or attachments unlocked. And when they get beamed off that, they're going to think, well, what's the point? I'm going to have to either buy Black Ops 6 or spend time leveling up their guns. They're actually just going to abandon the game at that point, let's be honest. So if it was up to me, upon the release of Season 3, I would unlock all weapons and all attachments for players in Warzone. Maybe, listen, well, some of the devs are freaking out back there. The higher-ups in Activision are like heavy breathing at the thought of that, at the thought of not being able to sell bundles to everyone for all the meta attachments. But okay, I'll maybe meet you in the middle. Maybe give all players level 10 weapons so they at least have a sight, a silencer, a barrel and an extended mag, and then they can rank up their weapons and go from there. I think those returning players will also notice the game doesn't last nearly as long as it used to. In fact, I believe it's a full 5 minutes less on average. Warzone matches used to last 25 minutes and now they only last 20, which makes a huge difference to the gameplay loop. Winning a match of 25 minutes feels so much more significant, especially when there's 150 players in the game compared to 120, but I won't even get my hopes up on them changing that. But those extra 5 minutes were plenty of time for fresh narratives to form in the match, a chance for a proper regain, and more importantly, it actually just allows the chance for you to chat with your teammates. Like I was saying, just shooting the shit whilst camping is some of my most fond memories on Verdansk. You try to have a conversation about anything other than what's going on in the game in Uzbekistan, and you'll be shat on. Shorter matches, redeploy drones, resurgence flares, all of this stuff makes each match relentless. You need to be locked in, doing the game or lean forward the entire time, and eventually that takes its toll. You don't want to be playing like that all night, you'll get burned out. Unless you're one of the 0.01% of competitive players who, once again, have ranked if they wish to play like that. And by the way, I don't actually have anything personal against ranked or competitive players, I'm just having a laugh, but seriously, I hope ranked is in the game on day one because I think everybody wins then. How's about some rapid fire things on the wish list then? Let's go. Floating loot has to return, please, for the love of God. I'm sick of my loot glitching into the map and becoming unobtainable. Plus, I think it would go a long way to bringing back that nostalgic feel of OG Warzone. Bring back the OG shower gulag, which, let's be honest, is the best gulag they've ever made. I wouldn't be averse to rotating the gulags every new season though, to keep things fresh. Speaking of fresh, they need to get back to refreshing the meta on a semi-regular basis and not letting the same boring, no recoil laser beam weapons dominate the meta for months on end. Also, some fun LTMs every now and then wouldn't go amiss. I really enjoyed the occasional game of Armored Royale with the wacky Mad Max style gameplay, not to mention the GOAT of all LTMs returning, the Haunting of Verdansk. Most like that with looser SBMM2, give the players a chance to have a laugh, let off some steam because it's not as serious and it might actually reignite their love of the game. And lastly, I really hope they bring back the bunkers with the crazy loot like miniguns inside it. Again, give players a decision to make because when that bunker keycard came out of the loot box, you'd shout to inform your team and then it was all about, okay, how far away are we from the nearest bunker? Do we have a car? How far away is the next zone? And then you would get there and realise there's a team already raiding it, it'd become a running battle, and oh man, how did we get so far away from those epic moments that made Warzone so special? At the end of the day though, I think we all know deep down that even if I were to get my exact wish list for Verdansk, it's not going to bring back that feeling we had for the game 4 or 5 years ago. It was a unique time in the world during lockdown. We had nothing else to do but play Warzone. We're still just chasing that high, but I just hope that the higher ups at Activision let the devs give it their best shot, because otherwise if they don't get it right or even get it spectacularly wrong like on Warzone 2, it could be the final nail in the coffin for Warzone, unfortunately, and that would be a great shame as a Call of Duty fanboy at heart. That's going to be all from me though. Let me know in the comments what your Verdansk wishlist would be. Have a nice day and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.